Have you ever noticed something strange about marriage? Two people can live under the same roof, eat the same food, sleep in the same bed, raise the same children, and yet, one couple becomes calmer, kinder, and more prosperous over time, while another couple becomes exhausted, bitter, and constantly drained. So what is the difference? Is it fate? Is it luck? Is it compatibility on paper? Or is it something deeper? In the Buddha's teaching, life ripens through causes and conditions, and marriage is one of the strongest conditions we will ever live inside. Because the person beside you does not only share your home, they shape your mind, they shape your speech, they shape your habits, they shape your karma. In other words, your spouse can become your greatest support on the path, or your greatest trigger. This talk is not about perfect love stories. It is about a sacred question. When two people meet, can they become benefactors to each other? Not the kind of benefactor who gives money, but the kind who helps you grow, helps you become wiser, helps you reduce suffering, helps you create a home that feels like refuge, not like battlefield. If you are married, if you are about to be married, or if you are simply trying to understand relationships with a clearer heart, this Dharma talk is for you. Now, dear friends, welcome to Buddha Peaceful Mind. May this teaching be gentle and practical. May it soften conflict. May it strengthen love without clinging. May it help couples build a home where blessings grow quietly and suffering becomes smaller. In many cultures, people say a spouse can be a benefactor, a noble companion, a precious connection. In Buddhism, we can speak in a grounded way. A good spouse is a wholesome condition, a condition that supports virtue, mindfulness, and wisdom. A good spouse does not mean life will have no storms. Life still has sickness, aging, loss, and change. But a good spouse means when storms come, you do not face them alone. And more importantly, you do not become cruel to each other inside the storm. So today, we will explore signs that two people are truly good conditions for each other. Not because they make each other rich only in money, but because they make each other rich in peace, rich in integrity, rich in kindness, rich in steady effort. And yes, when the heart becomes steady, outer life often becomes steadier too, because causes and conditions improve. But we will not turn marriage into a superstition. We will keep it Dharma, practical cause and effect. Let us begin with the first and most important sign. When you are together, both of you become better. Not suddenly, not perfectly, but over time. You become more honest, more patient, more responsible, more careful with speech, more willing to learn. This is a powerful sign, because the Buddha taught that wholesome friends are the whole of the path. A wise companion pulls you toward goodness without forcing you. They inspire your best self, not by controlling you, but by reminding you of your values. A small story. A man used to be quick-tempered. His words were sharp. In his first relationship, his anger grew. They fought until bitterness became normal. Later, he met a woman who did something different. When he spoke harshly, she did not attack back. She also did not accept harm. She was calm and clear. She said, "I love you, but I cannot speak with you when your voice is burning. Let us pause." At first, he felt offended. Then he felt ashamed. Then he felt awakened. No one had ever taught him boundaries with kindness. He began to practice. 3 breaths before speaking, repairing quickly after mistakes, learning to soften the body. Over time, he changed, not because she fixed him, but because her presence supported his right effort. This is a benefactor, a spouse who makes you want to become kinder. The second sign: when difficulty comes, you do not abandon each other. This does not mean you must tolerate abuse. The Buddha taught non-harming. So if there is harm, boundaries are necessary. But in normal hardship, job loss, sickness, pressure, financial stress, family issues, you do not turn your back. You stay. You face it together. A story. A couple faced a financial collapse. They had to sell things. They had to simplify. Stress rose. One day the husband said, "I feel like a failure." The wife said, "You are not a failure. You are a human in changing conditions. We will take one step today. Then tomorrow, one step again." They made a plan. They worked. They supported each other emotionally. Their recovery took time, but their bond became stronger. The lesson is simple. Hardship does not destroy a marriage. Unskillful speech and blame destroy a marriage. So a benefactor spouse is one who stays steady when life is unsteady. The third sign: you do not block each other's growth. You do not compete with each other. You do not secretly fear the other person's success. Instead, you rejoice. This is called sympathetic joy in Buddhism, mudita, the ability to be glad for another person's happiness. When a spouse has mudita, the home becomes light because there is no hidden rivalry. Many couples suffer because one person grows and the other feels threatened. But a benefactor spouse says, "Your growth is our blessing. I am proud of you. Let me support you." And this does not mean you ignore family responsibilities. It means you grow together with communication and balance. The fourth sign: home feels like a place where the nervous system can rest. Outside can be noisy. Work can be stressful. The world can be harsh. But at home, you do not have to perform. You do not have to defend yourself. You can be real. This is a deep blessing. In Buddhism, refuge is not only a concept. Refuge is a feeling of safety that supports practice. A home that feels safe makes mindfulness easier. A home that feels hostile makes mindfulness difficult. So a benefactor spouse helps create refuge, not by making life perfect, but by making the atmosphere kind. The fifth sign: you tell each other the truth, but with compassion. Not flattery, not silent resentment, not cruelty. Truth with kindness. This is the middle way. Some people speak truth like a knife. They call it honesty, but it is actually ego. Other people hide truth to avoid conflict. They call it peace, but it is actually fear. A benefactor spouse speaks truth for the purpose of growth, not for the purpose of winning. So the Buddha's teaching of right speech belongs here. Is it true? Is it beneficial? Is it timely? Is it gentle? A good marriage is built on right speech. The sixth sign: money is clear, fair, and aligned with values. This does not mean everything must be equal. Different seasons require different roles. Sometimes one works outside while the other cares for children. Sometimes one earns more. Sometimes one is sick and needs support. Fairness is not always 50-50. Fairness is mutual care with transparency. So a benefactor couple talks about money without shame, without secrecy, without power games. They make agreements. They adjust agreements when life changes. They protect the family. They avoid waste fueled by status. They practice contentment. The Buddha praised contentment. A content couple is less stressed. A greedy couple is constantly fighting. So money becomes a dharma practice. The seventh sign. When one person is weak, the other can carry more, and roles can change over time. In real life, there are seasons: pregnancy, illness, job stress, loss, mental fatigue. A benefactor's spouse does not shame weakness. They do not say, "You are failing." They say, "I see you. Rest. I will carry this part for now. And later, when you are strong again, you will carry me." This is partnership. The eighth sign. You both respect roots and family values. Not in a controlling way, but in a grateful way. Respect for parents. Respect for elders. Care for children. Appreciation for the people who gave you life. In Buddhism, gratitude is a great virtue. A couple that practices gratitude has more peace, because gratitude reduces entitlement. Entitlement is a poison in marriage. Entitlement says, "You owe me." Gratitude says, "I appreciate you." This changes everything. The ninth sign. You are not bored by each other's presence. You do not need drama to feel alive. Your love is not only fireworks, it is a quiet thread. When you are together, you feel okay. When you are apart, you miss each other. Not from anxiety, but from affection. This is maturity, because mature love is not addiction, it is connection. The 10th sign. You reduce each other's unwholesome habits, not by controlling, by loving. You become less angry because you do not want to hurt them. You become less careless because you do not want to break trust. You become less selfish because you see the other's humanity. This is the meaning of less harmful karma in marriage. Not that life becomes perfect, but the heart becomes cleaner. The Buddha taught that our actions create results. So a spouse who helps you act more skillfully is a true benefactor. Now, we need to be honest. Many people ask, if we do not have these signs, is our marriage doomed? No, because the Buddha taught transformation. The lotus rises from mud. A marriage can also rise from mud, but it requires practice. Not only love as emotion, love as training. Training of speech, training of ego, training of patience, training of forgiveness, training of repair. So now, let us go deeper into the practices that turn a marriage into a place of growth. First practice. Repair quickly. Most couples do not break because of one fight. They break because of unrepaired wounds. The Buddha taught humility. Humility means you can say, "I was wrong. I was hot. I hurt you. I am sorry." This sentence is medicine. If you can say it sincerely, many storms pass. Second practice. Do not argue when the mind is hot. Hot minds create hot words. Hot words create scars. So take a pause. 3 breaths, 10 breaths, a short walk, then return. This is the 2 arrows teaching. The first arrow is the problem. The second arrow is the extra suffering created by harsh speech and stories. So stop the second arrow. Third practice. Do not fight to win. Fight to understand. In Buddhism, winning an argument can be losing peace. So ask questions. What do you need? What are you afraid of? What did my words mean to you? This changes conflict into connection. Fourth practice. Practice generosity daily. Not only money, generosity of time, attention, respect, small help, a cup of water, a clean room, a message. These are small merits that build a warm home. Fifth practice. Practice loving kindness as a habit. Say one kind sentence each day. Appreciate one thing. Thank them. This sounds small, but it changes the atmosphere. A story about repair. A couple argued often. They loved each other, but they were proud. No one wanted to apologize first. So silence became long. Coldness grew. Then one day their child cried and said, "I hate when you stop talking." The parents felt shame. They realized their pride was harming the whole home. So they made one rule. If we fight, we must repair within 24 hours, not with a long speech, with one sentence. "I am sorry. I love you. Let us start again." Their marriage did not become perfect, but the home became safer. The lesson is that repair is more important than perfection. Now let us talk about something very important. A benefactor spouse is not someone who never triggers you. Sometimes a spouse triggers you because they reveal your unhealed places. This can be painful, but it can also be a teacher. If you have an unhealed wound, marriage will press it. So instead of blaming only the other, ask, what wound is being touched? What fear is arising? What story am I believing? Then practice. This does not excuse harm. It invites self-awareness. We must also speak about boundaries, because Dharma is not tolerance of abuse. If there is violence, humiliation, manipulation, addiction that harms the family, or repeated betrayal without repair, you need support. You need community, counseling, safety. The Buddha's compassion includes protection. Non-harming includes not harming yourself. So a Dharma talk about marriage must include this truth. A benefactor spouse helps you feel safe. If you are not safe, seek help. Now, some listeners are single and ask, how do I choose a spouse who will be a benefactor? The Buddha would not tell you to look only at charm. He would tell you to look at character. How do they treat people with less power? How do they speak when angry? Can they apologize? Do they respect truth? Do they have self-control? Do they have generosity? Do they have willingness to learn? Because beauty fades, money changes, status changes, but character is the foundation. So choose someone who is willing to practice, not someone who claims to be perfect. A few short stories. A woman married a man who was very charming in public, but at home, he was cruel. He never apologized. He blamed her for everything. She thought love would change him. It did not. Then she learned the Buddha's teaching. Love without wisdom becomes suffering. So she sought help. She protected herself and her children. She rebuilt her life. The lesson is that kindness is not naive. True compassion includes boundaries. Another story. A man married a woman who was kind, but she avoided every conflict. She never spoke her needs. She smiled while suffering. Years passed and resentment grew. Then she learned right speech, truth with compassion. She began to speak gently but clearly. Their marriage became healthier. The lesson is that silence is not always peace. Sometimes silence is fear. So practice courageous gentleness. Now, dear friends, if you feel this talk is helping your heart, you can support Buddha Peaceful Mind by subscribing or leaving a like. It helps these teachings reach couples who are suffering silently and want a kinder home. Before this practice, let us add one more teaching that is very important for couples. Many people think love is a feeling, but in Buddhism, love is also a training. If love is only a feeling, it will change with weather. When you are rested, you love. When you are tired, you do not. When life is easy, you love. When life is hard, you do not. So the Buddha taught something deeper than mood. He taught intention. He taught virtue. He taught patience. He taught mindfulness. These make love stable. So if your marriage is struggling, do not ask only, do we still feel love? Ask, are we still practicing love? Now, here is a short story. A couple said, we are not in love anymore. A wise elder asked, do you still speak with kindness? Do you still listen? Do you still appreciate? Do you still repair? They became quiet. They realized they had stopped practicing, not stopped loving. So they began again. One appreciation a day, one phone-free hour at night, one weekly check-in, one apology within 24 hours. The feelings did not return overnight, but the warmth returned slowly. Because practice creates feeling, not only the other way around. The lesson is simple. Love is not only found, love is built. And it is built with small daily actions. Now, another teaching. Do not humiliate your spouse. Not in public, not in front of children, not with jokes. Humiliation creates deep scars. The Buddha taught right speech and non-harming. So protect your spouse's dignity, even when you are angry. If you need to correct something, do it privately, gently, and with the purpose of growth. This one rule can protect a marriage for years. Now, let us return to the practice. Now, let us do a small practice for couples listening together. If you are listening with your spouse, or if you are thinking of your spouse, try this. Think of one thing your spouse did recently that helped you, even small. Maybe they cooked. Maybe they worked hard. Maybe they cared for the child. Maybe they listened. Now, say thank you. If you cannot say it out loud, say it in your heart. Gratitude is a lotus in marriage. Now think of one habit you want to change for the sake of the relationship. Not to please them, but to reduce suffering. Maybe you want to reduce anger, reduce sarcasm, reduce stonewalling, reduce phone time. Choose one habit. Now choose one tiny step. 3 breaths before speaking. 1 hour phone-free at night. 1 apology within 24 hours. 1 kind sentence each day. This is how marriages transform, not by grand promises, by small daily practice. Before the checklist, let us do a short guided pause for couples, because many arguments happen simply because the body is tense. If you are listening right now, take 1 slow breath. Feel your shoulders. If they are tight, let them drop. Feel your jaw. If it is tight, soften it. Feel your belly. If it is tight, relax it a little. Now imagine your spouse standing in front of you, not as an enemy, as a human being. A human being with a nervous system. A human being with fears and hopes. A human being who also wants peace. Now say inwardly, may you be well. May you be safe. May you be at ease. Now say inwardly, may I be well. May I be safe. May I be at ease. This is loving kindness. Now imagine both of you living under the same roof, like two people crossing a river on the same small boat. If one person shakes the boat with anger, both will fall. So the practice is to steady the boat, not by winning, by calming, by softening, by listening. Now take one more breath and decide one small intention for today. I will speak one level softer, or I will apologize quickly, or I will not use sarcasm, or I will give one appreciation. Hold this intention like a small lamp, then return to listening. This is a Dharma practice you can repeat every day. Now, we will offer a simple daily checklist that couples can use. Did I speak with kindness today? Did I listen without interrupting today? Did I take responsibility for my part today? Did I show appreciation today? Did I protect trust today? If you miss a day, do not use it as a weapon. Use it as a reminder. Begin again. This is Dharma. Before we close, we need to deepen this teaching, because marriage is not only a list of signs. Marriage is daily karma. Every day you plant seeds with your tone, with your attention, with your honesty, with your patience, and those seeds become the atmosphere of the home. So let us add several deeper reflections from the Buddha's path that make these 10 signs real in everyday life. Let us slow down and make this even more alive with a few small stories and a few practical exercises. Because Dharma is not only something you agree with, it is something you do in the moment when your ego is hot. A story about truth with compassion. A wife noticed her husband was spending money impulsively. She was afraid and also angry. If she attacked, he would defend. If she stayed silent, resentment would grow. So she practiced right speech. She waited until both were calm. She spoke in 3 parts. First, facts. I noticed we spent more than we planned this month. Second, feelings. I feel anxious because I want our home to be stable. Third, request. Can we sit tonight and make a simple plan together? The husband did not feel humiliated. He felt included. He agreed. They made one small change. They created a shared budget for the family. They kept a separate small personal amount each. They reduced conflict, not by controlling, but by clarity. The lesson is that money problems are often speech problems. Right speech turns conflict into cooperation. A story about home as refuge. A husband came home carrying stress. He spoke sharply without noticing. His wife felt hurt and became cold. Then the house became heavy. Later, he remembered the Buddha's teaching on mindfulness. He began to practice one ritual. Before opening the door, he would take 3 breaths. He would relax his shoulders. He would say inwardly, "I am entering my refuge." Then he would enter with softer eyes. Nothing in the outside world changed, but the atmosphere inside the home changed. The lesson is simple. Sometimes the greatest kindness is the tone you bring through the door. A story about shared growth. A woman wanted to study and improve her skills. Her husband worried it would change her. He felt insecure. Instead of fighting, she practiced compassion. She said, "I want to grow, not to leave you behind. If I grow, our family grows. I also want you to have your own growth." They made a plan. 2 nights a week she studied. 2 nights a week he exercised and learned a skill. 1 night was family night. 1 night was rest. They stopped seeing growth as separation. They saw it as shared direction. The lesson is that mudita can be trained. Rejoicing for your partner is not automatic. It is practice. Now, let us add 3 short practices any couple can do. They are simple enough to remember when you are tired. Practice 1. The 3 breaths before replying. When your partner says something that triggers you, pause. 3 breaths. Do not speak while the mind is burning. After 3 breaths, ask 1 question instead of making 1 accusation. "What do you mean by that?" Or, "Can you say that again more gently?" Or, "What do you need right now?" This prevents the second arrow. Practice 2. The daily appreciation. Each day, say 1 sentence of appreciation. Not a big speech. 1 sentence. Thank you for working today. Thank you for carrying the child. Thank you for cooking. Thank you for being patient. This sounds small, but small warmth prevents big coldness. Practice 3. The weekly check-in. Once a week, for 15 minutes, sit together. No phones. Ask 3 questions. What went well this week? What was hard this week? What is 1 small thing we can do differently next week? This is not therapy. It is mindfulness for the relationship. Now, a gentle truth. A marriage does not become a refuge because you never feel anger. It becomes a refuge because you know how to work with anger. So if you want to know whether you are benefactors to each other, here is a very clear test. After a conflict, do you become closer or colder? Do you learn or repeat? Do you repair or punish? If you repair, you are walking the path together. Now, let us deepen 1 more theme because it is essential. Fairness. Many couples fight because they measure love by equality. But life is not always equal. Life is seasonal. So the Buddha's wisdom is not rigid equality. It is compassionate fairness. Some seasons, 1 person carries more. Other seasons, the other carries more. The question is not, is everything equal today? The question is, are we both cared for over time? So ask each other, are you okay? Do you feel supported? What do you need? These questions create a marriage that is alive. Now, 1 last story about repair. A couple had 1 habit that saved them. When 1 person was wrong, they stopped using the word you. They used the word I. Instead of you always, they said, I feel hurt when this happens. Instead of you never listen, they said, I need to feel heard. This simple shift reduced blame, and reduced blame reduced defensiveness, and reduced defensiveness created room for love. The lesson is that the path is in the pronouns. Now we can return to the deeper reflections with a heart that is more practical and more calm. First, remember the three poisons: greed, hatred, delusion. These poisons do not only live in the marketplace, they live in the kitchen, they live in the bedroom, they live in the way couples talk about money, in the way couples talk about families, in the way couples talk when they are tired. Greed in marriage can look like entitlement. You should always do what I want. You should always understand me. Hatred in marriage can look like sarcasm, cold silence, punishing tone. Delusion in marriage can look like wrong views. If you loved me, you would read my mind. If you loved me, you would never disagree. So the first practice is to recognize poisons early. When entitlement rises, name it. When resentment rises, name it. When unrealistic expectations rise, name them. Naming is the beginning of freedom. Second, remember the four divine emotions: loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, equanimity. A benefactor spouse trains these four. Loving kindness means you actively wish well for your partner, not only when they please you, also when they are tired, also when they are imperfect. Compassion means when your partner suffers, you do not make it about you. You do not say, "Why are you like this?" You say, "I see your pain. How can we make this lighter?" Sympathetic joy means you rejoice when your partner grows. You do not compete inside the marriage. Equanimity means you remember impermanence. Today is hard, but it can change. Today you are emotional, but it can pass. So you do not make one bad day into a permanent identity. These four qualities are the fragrance of a good home. Third, remember the two arrows. In marriage, the first arrow is the problem, a mistake, a misunderstanding, a financial stress, a child's illness, a hard day at work. The second arrow is how we speak about it, how we blame, how we insult, how we replay, how we punish. Most marriages are not destroyed by the first arrow. They are destroyed by the second. So the benefactor practice is simple. When heat rises, pause, 3 breaths, then speak. If you cannot speak kindly, take space and return later. This is not avoidance, this is wisdom. Fourth, practice the art of repair. Many couples think the goal is never to fight, but the real goal is to repair well, to repair quickly, to repair sincerely. Because even good couples will misunderstand each other. The Buddha taught humility. Humility means you can say, "I was wrong." Humility means you can say, "I hurt you." Humility means you can say, "I want to do better." This is not losing face. This is protecting the heart. Here is a simple repair formula. I see what I did. I understand how it affected you. I am sorry. This is what I will try next time. Then stop. Do not justify. Do not defend. Repair is not a debate. Repair is medicine. Fifth, practice right speech inside the marriage. A spouse is not your emotional trash can. A spouse is not your enemy. A spouse is a human being with a nervous system. So practice the Buddha's filter. Is it true? Is it beneficial? Is it timely? Is it gentle? Sometimes it is true, but not timely. So wait. Sometimes it is beneficial, but not gentle. So soften. Sometimes silence is better than speaking hot. Right speech is a form of love. Sixth, practice right livelihood together, because livelihood affects karma at home. If money is gained through harming others, the home may have more anxiety. If money is gained through deceit, trust becomes thin. The Buddha taught honest livelihood not only for society, but for peace inside the family. So a benefactor couple asks, are we living in a way that we can respect? Are we earning in a way that does not poison the heart? This creates inner wealth. Seventh, protect intimacy with privacy. Not everything needs to be shared with outsiders. Not every conflict needs an audience. When too many people enter the marriage becomes a stage. A benefactor couple keeps the home sacred. They seek help when needed, yes, but they do not entertain gossip about their spouse. They do not humiliate their partner publicly. They protect dignity. This is also Dharma. Eighth, practice small daily appreciation. Many marriages become dry not because of big betrayal, but because of neglect. No thank you, no warmth, no gentle touch, no kind words. So practice one appreciation each day, one sentence. Thank you for working today. Thank you for caring for the child. Thank you for cooking. Thank you for listening. This is not romance. This is nourishment. The lotus grows by nourishment. So does love. Ninth, practice shared purpose. A marriage becomes strong when two people walk the same direction. Not the same personality, not the same hobbies, but the same values. Values like honesty, kindness, responsibility, growth, service. If you share these values, you can face storms. If you do not share values, even sunshine becomes conflict. So a benefactor couple asks, what kind of home are we building? What kind of parents do we want to be? What kind of human beings do we want to become? Then they align their daily actions with that. 10th, remember impermanence and gratitude. The Buddha taught that separation is part of life. One day, one of you will be gone. This is not to create fear. It is to create tenderness. Because when you remember impermanence, you waste less time in petty pride. You apologize faster. You hug more. You speak softer. You do not take love for granted. This is a powerful medicine. Now, let us tell one more story that gathers all of this. A couple reached a difficult stage. They had small children. They were exhausted. They argued about everything. They thought their love was disappearing. Then they learned something simple. Love was not gone. Their nervous systems were overloaded. So they changed conditions. They slept earlier. They reduced phone time at night. They made one rule: no harsh words in front of the children. They also made one practice: one appreciation daily. At first it felt awkward, then it became real. They repaired faster. Their home softened. The lesson is that marriage is not only emotion, it is conditions. Change conditions, and the heart changes. This is Buddhism in daily life. Now, a final practice you can do tonight. If you are with your spouse, look at them for 5 seconds without speaking. Remember one good thing they did for you. Then say one sentence. Thank you for being here. If you are not together right now, send one kind message. Nothing heavy. Just, I appreciate you. These small acts accumulate. They become the wealth of the marriage. Now we can close with a steadier heart. Before we speak about children, let us speak about two areas that silently decide the fate of many marriages: communication and intimacy. Because many couples do not fall apart from lack of love. They fall apart from the way they talk when they are tired, and from the way closeness becomes pressure instead of refuge. The Buddha taught that suffering grows when the mind clings, and when speech becomes unskillful. So communication and intimacy are not separate from Dharma. They are Dharma in daily life. First, communication. A benefactor spouse is not someone who always agrees with you. A benefactor spouse is someone who helps you stay aligned with truth and kindness while you disagree. This is why right speech is so central. Many couples speak like they are in a courtroom. They present evidence. They demand confession. They try to win. But the Buddha's path is not the path of winning. It is the path of reducing suffering. So here is a simple shift that can change a marriage. Do not speak to win. Speak to understand. When you feel the urge to prove you are right, pause and ask yourself one question. What do I actually want right now? Do I want to be right? Or do I want to be close? Often, being right costs closeness, and closeness is the real wealth of the home. Now, a small story. A couple argued about something small: a late reply, a forgotten task, a tone. The argument grew fast. It was no longer about the task. It was about respect. The husband said, "You never appreciate what I do." The wife said, "You never listen." Then they stopped. They looked at each other and realized both were saying the same thing in different words. "I want to matter to you." So they changed one habit. Before arguing about solutions, they began with acknowledgement. "I hear you. I understand you are tired. I can see why you felt hurt." Only after that did they talk about the practical issue. The argument did not disappear, but the cruelty disappeared. The lesson is simple. Most conflict is not about facts. It is about unseen feelings. The Dharma practice is to make the unseen seen, gently. Here is a practice you can try tonight. When your spouse speaks, do not interrupt, do not correct, do not explain. Just reflect back one sentence. "What I hear you saying is this." Then ask one question. "Is that right?" This simple practice can save hours of fighting, because it tells the nervous system, "I am safe here." Now, let us speak about a very common poison in marriage: sarcasm. Sarcasm is a hidden form of hatred. It is pain wearing a smile. Many people use sarcasm because they feel powerless. They feel unheard. They feel tired. But sarcasm creates deep scars because it attacks dignity. A benefactor spouse does not use humor to humiliate. They use humor to soften, not to stab. So if sarcasm is in your home, treat it as a warning light. Not to shame yourself, to wake up. Now, another story. A wife often used jokes to criticize. Her husband laughed outside, but inside, he felt small. Over time, he stopped sharing his heart. One day, she noticed he became quiet. She asked, "Why are you so distant?" He said, "Because when I share, I feel mocked." She felt shocked. She did not realize her humor had become a weapon. So she practiced a simple vow: no jokes at my spouse's expense. Instead, she practiced direct kindness. If she had a complaint, she spoke it clearly and privately. And if she wanted to joke, she joked about life, not about his dignity. The husband slowly opened again. The lesson is that a marriage cannot be warm if dignity is unsafe. Now, let us speak about the difference between a benefactor spouse and an enabler. A benefactor supports your growth. An enabler supports your avoidance. A benefactor says, "I love you, and I also want you to be honest. I want you to be healthy. I want you to be responsible." An enabler says, "I will cover for you, even when your behavior harms the family. I will pretend it is fine." That is not compassion, that is fear. So a benefactor spouse can be kind and also firm. They can say, "I will support you, but I will not support your harmful habits." This is Dharma. Now we move to intimacy. In many homes, intimacy becomes a battlefield of expectations. One person wants closeness, and the other is exhausted. One person wants touch, and the other feels pressured. One person wants to talk, and the other shuts down. The Buddha taught that craving creates suffering. So intimacy becomes suffering when it becomes demand. A benefactor spouse learns the art of gentle closeness. Closeness that respects consent. Closeness that respects fatigue. Closeness that respects the nervous system. This is also non-harming. So here is a simple teaching. Intimacy is not only sex. Intimacy is safety. It is the feeling that I can be held without being used. It is the feeling that my no is respected. It is the feeling that my yes is cherished, not taken for granted. When intimacy is safety, desire grows naturally. When intimacy is pressure, desire dies. Now, a story. A couple after childbirth struggled. The wife was exhausted. The husband felt rejected. They both felt lonely, even under the same roof. They began to blame. Then a wise friend told them, "Do not argue about desire. Protect closeness first." So they made a small practice. 10 minutes each night with no problem solving. No finances, no complaints. Just presence. Sometimes they sat quietly. Sometimes they held hands. Sometimes they asked one gentle question. "How are you, really?" Over weeks, warmth returned. Not because they forced romance, because they rebuilt safety. The lesson is that intimacy is built like a home, with small bricks. Now, another practice for intimacy that is very simple. The 2-minute touch. Each day, hug for 2 minutes. Not while multitasking, not as a joke. 2 minutes. If 2 minutes feels too long, start with 30 seconds. The goal is not performance. The goal is nervous system connection. Many people do not realize how much conflict disappears when the body feels safe. Now we must speak about in-laws and extended family, because this is a major source of mud. A marriage is two people, but it is also two family systems meeting. If you do not handle this with wisdom, love becomes trapped between loyalties. The Buddha taught gratitude for parents, but he also taught wise boundaries. So the middle way is respect without losing your own household. A benefactor spouse does not force you to abandon your parents, and they also do not allow parents to control the marriage. They protect the marriage respectfully. Now, a story. A husband's mother often criticized his wife. The husband stayed silent to avoid conflict. He thought silence was peace, but silence became betrayal. The wife felt alone. Then the husband learned a simple Dharma teaching. Non-harming includes protecting the one you vowed to protect. So he spoke, gently but firmly. Mother, I respect you, but I will not allow harsh words toward my wife. If there is concern, we can speak privately and kindly. The mother was not happy at first, but over time the boundary created less conflict. The lesson is that wisdom in marriage is often the courage to set respectful boundaries. Now, let us speak about language. Language creates reality. In conflict, couples often say, "you always" and "you never." These words are gasoline. Instead, practice, "I feel" and "I need." I feel overwhelmed. I need help with the child. I feel hurt. I need reassurance. I feel scared. I need a plan. This does not guarantee agreement, but it reduces attack, and reduced attack reduces defensiveness, and reduced defensiveness creates room for love. Now let us speak about trust. Trust is not a romantic feeling. Trust is a daily behavior. Truthfulness, consistency, keeping promises, being transparent with money and time, not hiding important things. A benefactor spouse protects trust like a sacred object, because once trust is broken, even small problems become dangerous. The nervous system becomes alert. Everything feels like a threat. So protect trust. And if you break trust, repair deeply. Not with excuses, with accountability. Now, a story. A wife discovered her husband was hiding a debt. He did not hide it because he was evil. He hid it because he was ashamed. But shame created a bigger wound. The repair began with truth. He admitted it fully. He stopped minimizing. He asked for help. They made a plan together. Then he changed one habit. No more secrets with money. Weekly check-in. Simple numbers. No drama. Over time, trust rebuilt. The lesson is that truth is painful for a moment, but lies are painful for years. Now we must speak about the quiet daily work of marriage. Many people think marriage is held by big moments, anniversaries, trips, gifts. But marriage is held by small, daily actions. How you greet each other, how you speak when tired, how you share burdens, how you thank, how you repair. So if you want to know whether you are benefactors to each other, ask this: do I feel more safe in this home over time? Do I feel more respected? Do I feel more supported? Do I feel more honest? Do I feel more motivated to be kind? If yes, you are building wealth. Not only money, wealth of the heart. Now, before we move to children, one last practice. The team language practice. Stop saying you versus me. Start saying us versus the problem. Not you are the problem. The problem is the problem. This one sentence can change everything because it reminds both nervous systems we are on the same side. Now we can speak about children with a fuller foundation. Before we close, we must speak about children because many couples do not realize this. A marriage is not only about two adults. It becomes the emotional climate where children grow. Children do not learn only from what you teach. They learn from your tone, from how you disagree, from how you repair. So when you practice Dharma in marriage, you are not only helping yourselves, you are reducing suffering for the next generation. This is very deep karma. If a child grows up in constant sarcasm, constant cold silence, constant shouting, their nervous system becomes trained in fear. If a child grows up seeing two adults repair, apologize, and speak with respect, their nervous system learns safety. So a benefactor spouse is also a benefactor parent. Now, a small story. A father grew up in a home where adults never apologized, so he carried pride as normal. When he became a husband, he also never apologized. Then one day, his daughter made a mistake and refused to say sorry. He became angry. His wife said, "She is learning from us." That sentence was like a bell. That night, the father apologized to his wife in front of the child in a simple way. "I was wrong. I am sorry. I will try again." The child watched. Her face softened. The lesson is that your marriage is your child's first Dharma talk. Now, let us offer a simple 30-day practice for couples. This is not a perfect program. It is a small training plan. Week 1 is tone. Each day, choose one moment to speak one level softer. Not weak, soft. If you fail, repair quickly. Week 2 is appreciation. Each day, give one appreciation out loud. One sentence. No speeches. One sentence. Week 3 is attention. Each day, create one phone-free window together, even 20 minutes. During that time, look at each other's face. Ask one question. How are you, really? Week 4 is repair. Each day, if there is any tension, do not sleep with punishment. Do one small repair. A touch, a sentence, a short apology. Let the home breathe. If you do this for 30 days, you may not become perfect, but your home will become lighter. And a lighter home is wealth. Now we can close with a heart that remembers why this matters. Before we close, let us add 2 final layers that make a marriage truly luminous. Shared practice and forgiveness, because many couples try to fix marriage only with technique. Better communication, better budgeting, better schedules. These help, but the deepest healing often comes when 2 hearts share a direction beyond ego. In Buddhism, this is called walking the path together. Not necessarily becoming monks or nuns, not escaping the world, but bringing mindfulness, virtue, and compassion into the home. A home can become a small sangha, a small community of practice. 2 people helping each other remember what matters. Now, what does shared practice look like for ordinary couples? It is simple. 5 minutes of quiet together, 1 short reflection, 1 act of generosity together, 1 small dedication of merit. This can change the atmosphere, because when you practice together, you are not only solving problems, you are training the heart. Now, a story. A couple loved each other, but they were stressed. Work, children, bills. Their home felt tense. They tried to talk, but talks turned into fights. Then they tried one strange thing. Each night, before sleep, they sat quietly for 3 minutes. No discussion, no problem solving, just breathing. Then they said one sentence each. May our home be peaceful. May our words be kind. At first, it felt awkward. Then it became a refuge. The mind learned a new pattern. Not only reacting, also resting. After a month, their conflicts were still there, but less sharp. because the nervous system had a daily reset. The lesson is that shared stillness is a powerful medicine. Now, another kind of shared practice is generosity. Many couples become tight because they are always thinking about what they deserve. Who works more? Who sacrifices more? Who is right? This is ego economics. But generosity breaks ego. So a benefactor couple practices giving together, helping parents, supporting a neighbor, donating a small amount, serving in a community. When you give together, you remember you are on the same side. You remember there is a world beyond your argument, and your home becomes wider. Now, let us speak about forgiveness. Forgiveness is not a romantic idea. It is a survival skill for long love. Because if you live together long enough, you will disappoint each other. You will misunderstand. You will forget things. You will speak with wrong tone. You will have days when you are not your best self. So without forgiveness, the home becomes a storage room of old pain. And old pain makes new pain worse. But forgiveness must be wise. Forgiveness is not allowing repeated harm. Forgiveness is releasing the poison after repair and after boundaries. It is saying, I will not carry this forever. Now, a story. A husband once shouted in front of the children. He was ashamed. The wife felt hurt. For days, she punished him with cold silence. He punished her with distance. Then they realized the house was becoming heavy for the children. So they practiced repair. He apologized without defending. She spoke her pain without attacking. Then they practiced forgiveness. Not forgetting, forgiving. They made one agreement. No shouting in front of the children. If heat rises, take space, return later. The marriage did not become perfect, but it became cleaner. The lesson is that forgiveness is strongest when it includes learning. Now, let us speak about fidelity and trust, because this is also Dharma. In Buddhism, sexual misconduct is not only about rules, it is about harm. Betrayal harms the nervous system of a spouse. It harms children. It harms trust. So a benefactor spouse protects the marriage from unnecessary risk, not by fear, by clarity. They do not play with temptation. They do not hide private relationships. They do not keep secrets that create doubt. They choose transparency. This is not control. This is protection. Now, if betrayal has already happened, the path is more complex. Truth, accountability, time, support, and sometimes professional help. The Buddha's teaching still applies. Non-harming, right speech, right action, wise compassion, and boundaries. So if you are in that situation, do not suffer alone. Seek wise support. Now, let us offer a simple metta practice for couples, because metta heals the tone of the heart. You can do this in 1 minute. Close your eyes for a moment. Bring your spouse to mind. Not their mistakes, their humanity. Remember, they want happiness just like you. Then say inwardly, may you be safe. May you be healthy. May you be peaceful. May you be free from suffering. Then turn it to yourself. May I be safe. May I be healthy. May I be peaceful. May I be free from suffering. This is not magic. It changes the heart's tone, and tone changes speech. and speech changes karma. Now, one more teaching from the Buddha that belongs in marriage. Do not take each other for granted. Impermanence is real. One day, one of you will be gone. This is not to create fear. It is to create tenderness, because tenderness is the opposite of entitlement. So practice one small tenderness daily, a gentle touch, a kind message, a soft apology, a thank you. This is how you make love last. Now let us add one final practical method for conflict, because many listeners will want something easy to remember. The stoplight method. Green means calm. When both are green, talk about plans, money, and hard topics. Yellow means rising heat. When you feel yellow, slow down, lower your voice, shorten your sentences, ask for a pause. Red means burning. When either person is red, stop the conversation. Take space, drink water, walk, breathe, return later. This is not avoidance. This is non-harming. It prevents scars. If couples used this method, many marriages would suffer less. Now, with shared practice, with forgiveness, with tenderness, with wise conflict tools, the 10 signs we spoke about become real. They become embodied, not as a checklist to judge your spouse, but as a direction to practice together. Now we can close. One last small ritual can make all of this easier, especially for busy couples. The end of day cleansing. Many couples carry the whole day into the night. Work stress, traffic stress, money stress, family stress. Then they fall asleep without releasing it. And the next day, that tension continues. So try a simple ritual for 7 nights. Before sleep, for 2 minutes, ask each other 3 questions. What was heavy for you today? What helped you today? What do you need from me tomorrow? One small thing. This is not interrogation. It is care. It turns the home into refuge. Now a story. A couple was drifting, not because of big betrayal, because of quiet distance. They did not fight much. They also did not connect. So they tried this 2-minute ritual. At first, answers were short. Tired. Fine. Nothing. But they stayed with it. And after a week, something changed. The wife said, "I feel lonely when you look at your phone at dinner." The husband said, "I did not know you felt that." He said, "I feel pressure at work, and I bring it home." They made one small agreement. Phones away during dinner. 10 minutes of talking after the child sleeps. Nothing dramatic, but the thread returned. The lesson is that many marriages do not need grand romance. They need daily attention. Attention is love in practice. Now, one more reminder. Do not wait until you are close to breaking to practice. Practice when things are okay. The lotus grows before the storm. So build your habits now. Kind speech now. Repair now. Appreciation now. This is how blessings grow quietly in a home. Now to close, let us gather the teaching. A marriage becomes prosperous when it becomes wholesome. Wholesome does not mean perfect. It means less harm, more truth, more patience, more generosity, more mindfulness, more willingness to repair. When 2 people practice this, they become benefactors. They help each other grow. They help each other reduce suffering. They help each other create a home that feels like refuge. So do not chase a marriage that looks perfect. Build a marriage that becomes kinder over time. That is the true wealth. If you want to share this talk with someone you love, you can. Sometimes one gentle reminder can save a home. May your words be soft. May your heart be steady. May your home be safe. May you become each other's benefactor, not only in money, but in wisdom and peace. May all beings be well. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be free.